Alright, hello, my name is Starla Henderson, and today we are going to be looking at how I made the leaves in our fall sampler quilt. And as you can see, I've got them spread, they're spread throughout most of the whole quilt here. And I did this not by needle turn, but by forming them first and then appliquing them down. Now, in your pattern, I included two leaf shapes because you may want to do one or both of these. I used this one. This was one that because I wanted to use this forming method. If you use this one, I have better luck with this one because of the round bottom if I just needle turn it. And you could put a few of these in there too and do both. But the majority of mine was with this leaf shape. And the process that I went through is first I used freezer paper. I take one plain sheet of freezer paper. I made about 40 of these leaves to start with. I picked 4 colors of fabric, and as you can see on this, I used fall colors. I used a green, several oranges, and a maroon color. And I picked 4 different fabrics, and I made about 10 of each. So you take your pattern, and on one sheet of freezer paper on the paper side, not the wax side, and trace this however many times for however many leaves you're going to make. Then I'll take that sheet of freezer paper, and I've already taken 2 other sheets that are going to be the same size, and I iron them together, making sure that both of them are wax. This is the wax side down, and then the one that I drew on, I iron over those 2 sheets so that I have 3 sheets of freezer paper. I do it that way because it is much easier to trace the shapes on one sheet than it is on 2 or 3 in this case. The next thing that I do is I take my I'm going to turn my iron on here real quick. Hold on. I take my piece that I have cut out after I've cut them out, and on the wrong side, because that wax, that's why I like the wax, I iron it to the fabric that I'm going to use for the leaf, and then I cut around it, leaving a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, just like I've done there. The way that this is done, and I use a small iron. There's several of them out there on the market. This is the one I happen to have right now. It's just a small hand iron, and I like this because the iron is so small that I have a little bit easier time seeing what I'm doing, and I don't burn myself as easily. And you do need to be very careful because this is a hot iron and you can burn yourself. The next thing that I use is, if you go to any office supply store, I think I got this one at Walmart, and I use an envelope moistener, and I put my starch in this. It's got a sponge applicator. It's already there, so I don't have to dip anything like a brush or a Q-tip in the starch and paint it on there. It's just ready to go. So I've got my starch in one of these applicators, and I've got my iron, and then we have our leaf already cut out and on our paper. The first thing you're going to do is I'm going to moisten just one side. Just get it wet. You just paint it on there, kind of feel of it, make sure it's wet. Some fabrics it's hard to tell. And then with my fingers I start it. And I'm going to go, and I have to be really careful. And I just slowly turn this around the form, pulling it until I get it all turned. And then I just hold it. Hold it down there till it's dry. You may have to move it a little bit because I got a lot of starch on there. Okay, now we're going to do the other side, and it's basically the same thing. Lay my iron down for a minute. I'm going to moisten the other side, and you're not going to clip these ends. I learned that the hard way. I've tried it several different ways just to see what would work best, and it really is easier not to clip those ends. You're just going to fold this end and I go ahead and move it a little bit. Fold it like this and kind of hold it down. Get it all ready and hold it tight. And then I just pull my iron tight over it and hold it down just like that, moving my fingers out of the way as I go. Alright, after it's completely dried, and I'm going to iron it this way too, you then have your finished leaf shape right there. Now, it takes me a little longer to do this when I'm explaining it, but I can sit, and this is a good TV project, while I'm watching TV or spending time with the family, and I will sit and cut these out and then form them. And I leave the paper in until I'm ready to actually applique it down. And that will be the next part of our next video. So that's how you make the leaf shapes, and that's how you form any shape like this. But I use this a lot for leaves, especially this small and this shape. Thank you. This is Starla Henderson with Fronter House Quilts blog. We're working on our fall sampler, shaping our leaves.